think we all want amazing features when it comes to next generations. We all want something that really showcases why we upgraded in the first place. You know, it's one of those things that I think is just basic human nature. When we buy something to replace the old thing, the new thing should do far more than the old thing, right? I mean, that's just common sense. That's just how things should be. And now we're getting a pretty interesting idea about how that's going to work for the PlayStation 5 next generation. I can't really speak much for the Xbox Series X, as Microsoft has a completely different strategy. Maybe that strategy is going to work well for what they're going to do, but overall, I much prefer Sony's strategy to how they're working with generations and almost a more traditional sense of console generations as to Microsoft's, you know, and I think both are fine, but I really prefer Sony's, and a developer is speaking out now about some incredible things with the PlayStation 5, which I found to be fascinating. Hey, what's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you very much for joining me. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. If you really want to help out, a simple like is all you got to do. Shout out to all the new subscribers, old subscribers, everybody in between. Guess what? This is completely unfiltered, unscripted, and just, you know, we're here to have a lot of fun talking video games. I love it. I know you guys love it, and I'm very appreciative of all the love and support you guys are giving me. Thank you so much for continuing to rock out with me. It really does mean a lot. You guys are fantastic, and I kind of want to jump right into what I wanted to talk about, because I found this to be particularly interesting with what we've been able to see so far from the PlayStation 5. It does sound like they are definitely onto something, and it's a very exciting time to be a gamer, in fact. So I wanted to talk about this. So again, features, right? We all love features. We all love to see what's coming, what we're going to get, that new shiny thing, that thing that can't be done on the previous generation. That's definitely what we're starting to see from, you know, both Microsoft and Sony. More so from Sony's side. I know a little bit lackluster on Microsoft's side, like I said, because the fact that, you know, they're being held back by the older hardware. But Sony is all full speed ahead, and I gotta say, this sounds incredible. For me personally, next generation is all about immersion. I don't really have any kind of set expectations in terms of, you know, resolution or frame rate. You know, I'm sure that just better performance overall is going to be a thing, and we'll continue to see that kind of flourish from both Microsoft and Sony, and that's, I think, what I'm most looking forward to. So a lot of the features, I want more seamless kind of features and things like that that really kind of immerse me in the game. And, you know, there's so many times like that. Like, so now I've been recording, you know, new gameplay footage pretty much every day, trying to do as much as I can to kind of give you guys new stuff to look at in the background. And, you know, it's interesting because when I'm recording it, I'm often reminded now how bad load times are, how much I hate load times, because, like, I'm recording gameplay footage and there's loading screens, and it's like these loading screens are like a minute something. I'm like, okay, so now when I do a video, I have to make sure that I cut out the loading screen, because nobody wants to sit there and look at a loading screen for a minute in a video. So, you know, or a minute and a half or whatever. Some of these loading screens are just intensely bad and long. So that's probably one of the most exciting features about next generation. We're going to be getting rid of that. We've all gone over that quite a bit. But when it comes to the PlayStation 5, man, developers are crazy about this thing, right? They're absolutely loving things. The DualSense, the stereo vibration, the triggers, the different things you can do. We have an exclusive Godfall. You guys know that's going to be the exclusive coming out for the PlayStation 5. They're talking about the DualSense controller and other things as well, and I thought I would share this with you. This was actually an interview with the Godfall director. His name is Keith Lee, and he was talking about the DualSense controller and how the features are going to improve the entire experience, from stereo vibration and the resistance on the triggers themselves, and how they allow developers to create the feel of weapons clashing and how they resonate, which is not possible with current controllers. And he says this: what's exciting about the DualSense controller is the fact that it has stereo vibration in terms of the rumbles, as well as resistance on the triggers. So one of the things that you can do is to create for the first time a sensation of your weapon hitting another weapon and how it resonates. Also, the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller will also be able to replicate the feel of different surfaces when sliding, creating a very powerful experience. The fact that if you're sliding across the ground, depending on the surface of the material, you might slide on gravel or sand or water. The way vibrations work really feel like the way that those surfaces would actually feel. So it's a lot more powerful in terms of creating that experience. The DualSense controller is setting out to be a game changer, no pun intended, for next generation, as multiple developers have been praising the features. And I think I did a video on this one as well, where the Bugsnax developer highlighted last week how the controller's haptic feedback is unlike anything currently available. He said, previously on pretty much any console that had vibration or rumble, it's a nice feature that sometimes can make things more immersive, but I haven't felt anything quite as intricate and sensitive as the DualSense's haptic feedback. So again, you have these developers talking about this stuff. There's also, like, a lot of people go, well, what's the difference between, you know, why couldn't that run on the PS4? Or why is that a PS5 game in general? Why can't that run on PS4? You know, listen, when you look at what the developers are saying, the things that are possible on the PlayStation 5 just aren't possible on PS4, and that's just a fact. You know, I know it's something that a lot of Xbox fans don't want to hear because of Microsoft's strategy, but the truth of the matter is, you know, when you're doing stuff like ray tracing, you know, 60, 120 frames on some games, the higher resolutions, the higher graphical fidelity, the more polygon counts, all that kind of stuff is definitely the immersive lighting, like stuff like Lumen. All this stuff is stuff that's only available on the next generation. Even the 3D audio that Sony's going to be bringing out of the gate as well. I think that these are things that people kind of took for granted and say, oh, well, why is that such a next-gen thing or whatever? Listen, people like to, for some reason, right, there's a lot of misinformation about, let's take, for example, Spider-Man Miles Morales, right, coming from Insomniac Games, going to be a launch title for the PS5. A lot of people are under the assumption that this is a 5 to 10 hour game, right, which is ludicrous. They've compared it to Lost Legacy, which was a 15 to 20 hour standalone game, and they also have confirmed that they haven't actually given a time on the high end or the low end, that they haven't done that yet. So basically, they're probably getting this, you know, smaller game. And a lot of, you know, the interesting part was one of the sites that ran with this was like considered Spider-Man, the original one from 2018, to be only a 20-hour game. I don't know anybody who beat that game in just 20 hours, right? Like, I spent 45 hours in there, and I didn't platinum it. I didn't try to platinum it. I didn't do all the side quests. I didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, I did some, but not all of it. Not even half of it. And it still was like a 45-plus hour game, you know? So for me, when you hear half, and to me, that'd be the perfect thing, man. If you can get 15 hours into a new Spider-Man game at launch, that's perfect for me. You know, and people complaining about, you know, a 15-hour game, look, especially it tends to be Xbox fans. Any Halo campaign on normal can be beat in 5 to 7 hours. Any Gears of War campaign can be beat in 5 to 7 hours. It's honestly, like, to begrudge something like that. For me personally, I thought some games have a little bit too much content and a little bit too drawn out. Like, it took me 70 hours to beat Red Dead Redemption 2. I felt like that was a little bit too long. Same thing with Days Gone. I like Days Gone a lot, but it was such a long, drawn-out game. I felt like they could have ended it hours and hours before they did. Maybe even a little bit with The Last of Us 2. I know some people maybe won't like to hear that, but I felt like there was too many false finishes to that game, and it just kind of dragged on a little bit at times. You know, I feel like 20 hours is almost like, I think in between 15 and 20 hours is perfect for any AAA game, besides RPGs. I mean, RPGs obviously are meant to sort of be spaced out a little bit, but the fact that these developers are talking about, like, the solid state drive and what a game changer it is and all the other things that I mentioned, that's what makes the difference between last generation and next generation. And I love the fact that Sony's going out of their way to sort of gravitate and tell people exactly what to expect and why that's happening. So yeah, it's very exciting time, and I gotta say that I'm actually excited for the way that, you know, both Sony and Microsoft, well, I mean, I think more so Sony, but, you know, Microsoft, they've got a really good plan as well. You know, I think they have maybe I'll do a video about that, right? Because people ask me, well, how do you feel about, you know, the Xbox? How do you feel about the Xbox doing this, that, or the other thing, right? And I got to be honest, I was thinking about this, and I saw they came out with this thing about players first, you are the future of gaming, blah, 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 and I think this all sounds good. So if this stuff all sounds good, right, then why am I not more excited for it? And that got me thinking, and maybe I'll do a video. Like, is the games really... I mean, it has to be the games, right? So hopefully we'll know more on the 23rd of July, but should I be, and I can understand, because I have some people tell me, man, I'm just not excited at all for the next Xbox. And I'm like, me either. Like, I hope that it's great, but so far, you know, it's hard to get excited about, like, the games mean that much, right? So all the other stuff doesn't really matter. So hopefully the games are on point. and people can be excited about you know, what's coming and stuff like that. So I gotta say, man, I hope that it's a fair fight. I hope that we get everything we want. Thank you so much if you decided to watch this video and spend some time watching one of my videos. I much appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. Please take care of each other. Game on, have fun. Hopefully you guys all stay safe, happy, and healthy. Rack 'em up. Thanks for watching. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.